All right, let's talk about the world's biggest car market, because right now it is sending some seriously mixed signals. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into China's auto industry, using the very latest data from July 2025 to really unpack the huge forces that are reshaping the road for pretty much everyone. So, what's really going on over there? Is the market hitting the gas and going full throttle? Or is it slamming on the brakes? Well, like with most things, it's just not that simple. And the real story is way more interesting. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at the big picture, this idea of a market in transition. Then, we're going to zoom right in on the crazy price wars and the absolute takeover by new energy vehicles. After that, we'll zoom back out to see how China's cars are going global, and finally, we'll pull it all together to see what the road ahead really looks like. So first up, this idea of a market in transition. You can't just say it's good or bad. The health of China's auto industry right now is really a tale of two different speeds, both happening at the exact same time. Okay, check this out. The headline number for car sales to consumers in July, just over 1.8 million. For July, that is a huge, historically massive figure. So on the surface, you'd think, wow, this market is running at full speed. But that's not the whole story. And here's the twist. This is where it gets interesting. Compared to this time last year, sales are up a really healthy 6.3%. But, and this is a big but, compared to just last month, they're down 12.4%. That, right there, is the market's core tension in a nutshell. Pretty solid long-term health, but some serious cooling in the short term. So, you might be asking, where is that pressure being felt? Well, look no further. We are watching a massive power shift happen in real time. Domestic Chinese brands have just tightened their grip, and now they command almost 2/3 of their entire home market. And you can see who's paying the price. German, American, and even the luxury brands are all losing ground. It's pretty clear who the Chinese consumer is backing. Now, all of that intense competition at home has been fueling this infamous price war. For months, all we've heard about is involution, this brutal race to the bottom on price. But the latest data, it suggests a ceasefire might just be starting. You can see it right here. The number of car models with official manufacturer-led price cuts has actually dropped, down from 23 last year to just 17 this July. That headline-grabbing race to the bottom, well, it seems to be losing a little bit of steam. The strategy is definitely changing. As the report points out here, the focus is shifting away from just chaotic price slashing and more towards stable, predictable promotions. It's a sign of a market that's, maybe starting to grow up a little, getting beyond just pure survival mode. But, and you knew there was a but coming, don't think for a second that the deals are gone. While the official cuts are down, the discounts you'll get at the dealership are still huge. Get this, traditional gas cars need an average discount of over 23% just to get them off the lot. Now, compare that to new energy vehicles at just over 10%. That tells you everything you need to know about where the real consumer demand is right now. And that brings us perfectly to the main event, the one trend that is rewriting every single rule in the auto industry, the absolute total dominance of new energy vehicles, or NEVs. I want you to just let this number sink in for a moment. 54%. For the very first time, more than half of all cars sold directly to people in the world's largest market were either electric or hybrid. This isn't some future trend we're talking about. This is the reality on the ground today. It's a historic tipping point, no question. And who's winning this race? Well, it's an all-domestic show. BYD is just in another universe, selling more than double its closest competitor. It's wild. And hey, look at Hongmeng. That's Huawei's new car brand, already crashing the top 5. This is a homegrown revolution, through and through. What's really fascinating, though, is the tech battle that's happening inside this NEV revolution. Pure electrics, they're still king, making up over 62% of the market. But you cannot ignore the others. Plug-in hybrids are still a huge piece of this puzzle, and even those extended range vehicles have a solid foothold. This is not a one-size-fits-all transition. So, after seeing that level of dominance at home, It's really no surprise what comes next, right? Let's zoom back out and see how China's auto industry is now taking this show on the road with a massive expansion all across the globe. I mean, the numbers here are just staggering. In just 1 year, the number of new energy vehicles exported from China more than doubled, a 120% increase. This isn't just growth, it's an absolute explosion. And this really shows you that NEVs aren't just some side project for China's exporters. They are the absolute tip of the spear. Almost half, 45% of all cars shipped out of China are now new energy. It's the core of their entire global auto strategy. And here are the companies making it happen. And again, no surprise, BYD is leading the charge with a jaw-dropping number of exports. But what's really fascinating here is the mix. You've got these domestic champions like Chery and Changan right up there with Tesla, which, as you know, uses its Shanghai Gigafactory as a massive global export hub. Okay, so after digesting all of that data, what does it all mean for the immediate future? Let's turn to the forecast and the key takeaways from this pretty incredible moment in the auto world. The outlook for the next month really points to a market that's maturing. The big focus is shifting to stability. So we're expecting to see more disciplined production, a whole wave of new models to get people excited, and a really strategic pivot from just chasing sales volume to actually protecting profits. And on the demand side, things like the back-to-school season could give sales a nice little bump. But look, if you take only one thing away from all of this, let it be this number. As of June, Chinese brands accounted for over 70% of the entire world's new energy vehicle market. Let me say that again, 70%. This isn't just about one country's car market anymore. This is a fundamental reshaping of the entire global auto industry. And that leaves us with this final and, I think, critical question. When one country's brands command such an overwhelming share of the defining automotive technology of our time, is this just a temporary surge? Or are we watching the permanent new world order of the auto industry being forged right before our very eyes? It's a question that everyone from Detroit to Stuttgart to Tokyo is desperately trying to answer.